A man called Omoba has done what has not been heard in the history of mankind. He arrested and took the river mermaid to court. This is how the story began. There is a small village in Africa called Egila, a small settlement with river surrounding it. The villagers were happy families, men and women, children and the youth. Story has told that Egila settlement used to be a large community until stronger clans invaded them in war and plundered every land. The survivors ran and settled by Egila River and began a new life. And so life in Egila was a quiet one. The elders taught peaceful living to the younger ones and peace reigned in Egila. But there was one thing. The mermaid of the river is known for troublemaking and naughtiness. Egila was a small settlement nestled between thick forest and a vast river that shimmered like silver under the sun. The villagers were peaceful people, men and the women who worked together, children who play in the open fields, and the elders who told stories under the moonlight. Deep in the river that gave the village its lives, there lived a mermaid. Not the kind of from sweet bedtime tales, but one known for mischief, trickery, and endless troublemaking. The villagers call her Adan, which means the one who never rests. Every morning as the sun stretched its golden arms across the river, the village youths would come to bathe in the cool waters. Just when they were enjoying themselves, whoosh, the mermaid would rise from the depths, her long wet hair flowing like a cape. She would grin wickedly, her sharp teeth glinting, and with a voice that echoed like thunder, she would burst into laughter. Ha ha ha! See how you jump like frightened frogs. She would mock, slapping her shimmery tail against the water. She would laugh, mock, slapping her shimmering tail against the water, sending waves that nearly drowned them. And then, splash, she would disappear, leaving them gasping for breath, their hearts pounding. But she did not stop there. When the old men of the village came to watch their farming tools in the river, Adan will creep close, hiding beneath the water. Just as an elder dips his jars to fetch water, boom, she will blow bubbles so strong that the elder's pot will fly out of his hands. The poor man will fall back, his wrapper soaked, his dignity washed away. Old man, your time in this world is almost over, but you still want fresh river water. She will tease before vanishing. The maidens of Egila had their own tales of suffering. When they gathered at the riverbank to watch clothes, Adanko will hum a sweet enchanting melody. The girls lost in the beautiful tune will listen, their hands frozen mid-watch. But just as they sigh in admiration, whoosh, Adanko will leap up and slap their faces with a wave of cold water, soaking them from head to toe. Why watch clothes when you yourselves are dirty? You need watching, she will say, her laughter ringing into the air. The children of Egila suffered the most. Whenever they came to fetch water, their small hands gripping their clay pot, Adanko will strike. With a flick of her powerful tail, crack, crack, their pot will shatter into pieces. Water spilling everywhere. The children will wail, their feet splashing in the puddles. But before they could see where she had gone, Adanko would be long gone. The village elders held meetings, shaking their heads in frustration. They sent priests to the river to speak with her. Adanko, why do you torment us? This is our home. The river is our life. The high priest said, but Adanko only laughed. Your home? This river is older than all your ancestors. I was here before your fathers' fathers were born, she retorted, flipping her shimmering tail. If you do not like my games, then stay away from my waters. The villagers were helpless. How could they stay away from the rivers? It was their source of life. Then one day, something happened that no one expected. There was a man in Egila named Omoba who just returned from the big city with his new wife. Adan did also, as she was known for, when the young man took a stroll to the river into the cool of evening with his beautiful wife. But he did something no one had ever dared. Omoba was among the illustrious sons of Egila who traveled to study in the city. He graduated as a lawyer and the people knew him for his strong fight in winning every case in his table. In fact, he has never lost any case. So while walking that evening, unsuspecting of Adan's mischievousness, a swift hand moved from nowhere and removed the wig of his new wife and threw it into the river. While they all looked in surprise, Adan roared out in laughter as usual. "What a score! Head like a coconut!" At first, the newly married couple were terrified. They ran home because it was not ordinary seeing a mermaid and attacking them and also mocking them. They ran home because it was not ordinary seeing a mermaid and attacking them and also mocking them. When they reached home, holding their breath because they ran from the river without stopping to rest. They were breathing hot and their hearts beat more and more. They shared their experiences, their horrible experiences in the river in between their panting. "Oh, you are here to see Adan," his mother said, shaking her head and sighing. "What?" Omoba queried. The people who gathered narrated all they have been through in the hands of Adan, the river mermaid. Omoba was mad that evening. He wanted to go back to the river to see. Omoba was mad that evening. Omoba was mad that evening. He wanted to go back to the river to see if the mermaid would repeat her naughty act, but it was already night. The following morning, while the villagers moved from their various businesses, Omoba went to the river with a jar to fetch water. The moment he stepped into the river bank, the mermaid arose from the depth and said, "Greeting to you, the river goddess," Omoba said. "Greetings too," the mermaid responded. But he was about to confront her about her attitude yesterday evening towards him and his new wife, but she disappeared into the deep river. Omoba waited to see if she would sail again, but she was not seen. Out of frustration, he took his water jar and bent to scoop the water. Whoosh! Omoba froze, chalk on his face. A hand was holding the balls under his leg. The hand was so cold as if someone is dropping an ice water into. The hands were so cold as if someone is dropping an ice water inside his brocos. He jumped out of the riverbank, leaving his jar, and behold, it was Adan. She was sitting at the other side of the river and laughing her usual naughty laughter. "What a small balls! What a brocos so tiny! You will surely use your fingers for your coconut head new wife." Ha 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 ha! Did your mother sell some in the market? She mocked Omoba. "This is molestation, harassment, and body shaming." Omoba was still blowing his grammar when Adan laughed the more and dived back into the deep river. Angrily, he walked back into the riverbank to get his water jar. But it has been broken. It was still Adan. She has smashed it with her hardfish tail. Omoba walked home with a feeling of humiliation. In his lifetime, he has never been humiliated like this one. Several thoughts swam his head as he headed home. A learned fellow cannot be molested in his father's home by a being whose boundary ends inside the river. "I must sue Adan to court," he said to himself. "She must appear in the High Court to answer for all the wrongs she has done to the people of Egila. Why will she torment them every day?" Omoba moved straight to the house of the village chief and told him he had important announcements to make before the general public and the market square. The village chief, Oba Amako, did not question Omoba what it was all about. Rather, he gave his go-ahead. Everyone in the village knew Omoba as a noble and a well-respected man. Anytime he returned and wished to speak to the people, even the babes sucking would pause to listen. So the town crier made announcement and summoned every living woman in Egila, old, young, able, and disabled. The market square filled to the brim with men and women in higher anticipation. Even the chief and the village elders were itching in the ears because they were yet to find out the sudden summon. In no time, Omoba arrived, but this time around he came as a different person. He was fully robed in his court regalia, adorned on his head with lawyer's wig. This was another sight seen. The people of Egila swear they felt as if the gods had come in person to see them. Omoba marched straight to the center of the village market square and declared before the elders, the chief, the men, women, children, the youths, and the spirit of the land. I, Barrister Omoba, we arrest and sue Adan, the river mermaid, to the highest court in Egila. The village erupted into murmurs. A court case against a mermaid? Was such a thing even possible? She has caused too much trouble in Egila. She must answer for her crimes, Barrister Omoba insisted. The elders shook their heads, but seeing the determination in his eyes, they agreed. A special trial will be held in the Egila High Court where the justice had always been served. But how would they summon a mermaid to court? Barrister Omoba had a plan. First, he sat down in the village market square, opened his book court file, and asked the people of Egila to file and come and complain against the river mermaid. He told them to recount all she has done to them. Adan was really a thorn in the flesh of the people of Egila. She has done more evil than people imagine. When the children began to recount their own ordeal, Barrister Omoba went paranoid. He was very mad. How could all of these evils go on for long and the people are keeping quiet? Some children said Adan used to sexualize them when they went to fetch water. Some say she used to spray her armpits wide open and ask them to plug out her eggs. Boys under 10 recounted how she used to rub their balls each time they went to swim. They say she rubbed them until their manhood stood, and she also used her mouth on their balls. By the time Barrister Omoba was done compiling Adan's crimes against the people of Egila, the size of his file became as big as an Oxford dictionary. Before he went home, he asked some people to come to the river the next morning for their usual routine. He also encouraged them to come and take their bets so Adan could have reason to sell out. The next morning, Barrister Omoba went to the river carrying a large fisherman net. He had made plans with the village hunters and the fishermen. They will lay ambush and act when they feel it is right. Not them alone. Barrister Omoba came with the uniformed men. They will arrest Adan and take her to their station. From there, she will be charged to court. As planned, 8 Egila handsome young men walked into the riverbank wearing their loose shorts. As they bent over to fetch from the river, the waters trembled. Boom, boom, boom. It was Adan. She was rushing to press their balls. From the depth of the river, Adan rose, her eyes glowing like fireflies in the dark, her eyes dripping with curiosity. The young men, familiar with her trick and naughty play, moved slowly out of the river bank, but still bending, showing the river the full view of their brocos. Adan, naughty as usual, swam closer. As they moved, she moved with them and swam closer. Now almost out of the river, her massive fishtail fully revealed, she stretched her hands and rubbed the balls of 2 young men. They wriggled, because her hands were as cold as an ice, but they remained at the spot and still bent, pretending as if they were struggling with their water jars. Adan came out the more. She lost focus and guard. She has forgotten there were many people in the river that morning, all staring at her. Why would she? She saw large brocos. The 8 men were selected. Their brocos were as good as a lump of a risen bread. She has lost in her rough playful pressing and rubbing from one lap to the other. Bam! Wham! Barrister Omoba slammed the heavy net. He had trapped her. Adan, the river mermaid, has been trapped. The villagers gasped. Never in their lives had they seen such bravery. With the help of the strongest men, Barrister Omoba carried the seal net out. The uniformed men were ready with their handcuffs. They were there at the river that morning and saw by themselves the atrocity of the river mermaid. Adan was handcuffed and taken straight to the Obi, where the high court was already seated. The elders, the chief, the young, the men, the women, even the children gathered. The great Egila High Court was packed with people from every corner of Egila and beyond. No one had ever heard of a mermaid being taken to trial, and curiosity born in their hearts. Elders, hunters, fishermen, women with babies tied to their backs, and even travelers passing through Egila squeezed into the space beneath the ancient house to witness this historic case. At the center of it all sat Adan, the river mermaid. Her arms were crossed and her shimmering tails was coiled beneath her in the dock. She was no longer trapped in the net. Omoba had made a deal with the elders. Adan would be free from the net only if she promised not to escape until the trial was over. She agreed. But she did so with a mischievous grin that made the elders uneasy. The village judge, an elder named Chief Ogudo, sat on a high wooden couch, his long grey beard reaching his chest. He banged his hammer on the desk, signaling the start of the trials. "Let the proceeding begin," he declared. The lawyer defending Adan was a man named Barrister Adan, a small chap eye man with a fast tongue. He stood up, adjusted his robe, cleared his throat, and to everyone's surprise, simply said, "My client is not guilty." And then he sat down. The villagers gasped. That was it? No argument, no defense, no explanation for Adan's mischief. The judge ached an eyebrow but allowed it. He turned to Barrister Omoba, a tall, serious man with a voice as deep as the river itself. Omoba stood up, holding a thick stack of papers. "Witness testimonies against Adan." "My lord," Omoba began, bowing slightly. "Before we proceed, I ask that I be allowed to call forth a witness." The judge nodded. "Proceed." A small boy no more than 10 years was laid forward. He was barefoot, his legs covered in dust, but his eyes burned with determination. His name was Ede, and he had been one of the Adan's many victims. Omoba approached him with a kind smile. "Tell us, my boy, what has the river mermaid done to you?" The boy clenched his fist, looked at Adan and said in a loud voice, clear, "She broke our water jars. She does it every time we go to fetch water. Every time we carry a small pot, she waits, hiding, and then bam, she hits them with her big tail and laughs at us." The villagers murmured. Some nodded in agreement, remembering how often their children came home crying, their pots chattered. The first witness was asked to go take his seat for the moment. Barrister Omoba came forward again and brought out his file where he documented all the witnesses against the mermaid. He asked the judge to permit him to examine yet another witness. Another young boy was asked to come forward. When he came, he recounted all the evils the mermaid had done to him and his siblings. He said them in between tears. The judge was furious and he shouted, "Order!" The court became quiet.
Information, Mr. Judge!
Adan cried from the dock. The court swore. Her voice was like that of the cry of the deep sea and echoed through the court. "Inform this great high court if it is important." The judge roared from his seat.
"Mr. Judge, you can't judge me with your laws. I am not a woman. I don't belong to your laws."
Adan shouted in protest. "Objection, my lord!" Barrister Omoba cried, jumping from his seat. Adan the mermaid committed the crimes on the land. She was caught on the surface of the land. She was not caught in the deep river where she belongs. If she could come out of the river and commit a crime on the land, she should be held and tried with the laws of the land. I rest my case. Omoba argued and sat back. "Objection, my lord!" Adan lawyer tried to speak. "Objection overruled." The judge roared in anger and asked him to go take his seat.
"Having examined the case before me, Miss Adanko, you are guilty as charged with the power vested on me as the chief judge of this high court of Egila. You are hereby sentenced to 50 years imprisonment inside your river. You will never sail out of Egila river. You must never be seen by anyone around the river. Anytime anyone see you around the river, you'll be caught and be imprisoned on the land where your survival will be minimal. God arise!"
There was a jubilation in the land. The people of Egila celebrated their victory and freedom at last from the river mermaid Adan. Adan, the river mermaid, was taken back to the river. She swam feeling ashamed. She was no longer seen out of the river till death. That very day, the youth and the children of Egila rushed to the river to bathe and to fetch from the fresh water. No one ever harassed them. Lessons. Omoba, the man who took a river mermaid to court. What lessons can be learned from these stories? There are so many lessons here. 1. No one is above the law. Number 2, the reign of evil can never be forever. One day it must surely end. That is, there is an end to an evil. And if a snake refuses to act like a snake, the children will play with it and call it a rope. Adan, the river mermaid, like a snake, forgot who she is, what she is. The people mistook her for a boy and play with her. I thank you for watching. Please share my channel and support us. God bless you.